Well, Susan and I also, she didn't say, but we're just friends now. We have lived this Bridge to Read experience together for several years. And so we're going to speak to you from a presentation that has morphed from a lot of different things. But truly, we've lived these materials. So if you have a question and want to interrupt us, it might, change all the content that we get to, but please, we do want to answer questions.
Yeah, I think we just really, this is a small group.
Yes.
And I look around and I have dear friends here and I have giants.
Giants.
Arlene, we go back decades, Chris. And so, just make it very interactive. We're friends.
Mm-hmm. Our goal truly is that these materials would be accessible to everyone who wants them and needs them. So just know that, yes, there's a commercial here, but it's not for any financial gain. These are free resources. We want people to have them and use them.
And I would say in designing them, my early training in Norton Gillingham was a very powerful foundation when I was trying to design the lesson.
Yes. Susan, you're a very soft speaker.
Oh, is my mic?
Is it picking up?
So yes, it's recording, but it's not doing anything for the room.
I've got to amplify. Oh, I thought, I'll talk louder.
No. So
Thank you.
We'll be fierce.
Yes.
All right. So that's us. You've heard plenty about us.
Yeah. So with Bridge to Read, MDE, the Minnesota Department of Education, had a couple-year process where people could submit curriculum, and we went through the process, and it was laborious and extended. Took a lot of time, but we got the highest grade, and we were thrilled for foundational reading skills. And my goal in designing these materials was that it would be free, online, open access to any educators so that teachers could really improve their instruction. So we provide the materials and we provide coaching. We have a partnership with MDE and many schools.
Yes, what year did
Kindergarten
started?
When did we start?
Yeah.
So we're going, I'd say actively in partnership with schools. We're just finishing our 4th year.
So if you're wondering who is partnering with Bridge to Read at this point, this is the list, but it's changing every day. So more and more and more.
Right. And we entered, Lisa works in Anoka Hennepin. When we entered there, I said, I just want one teacher. I want to offer these materials and work closely. And if other people would like to use it, that's fine. And now we have 500 teachers trained in Bridge to Read.
Yeah. This is Monroe Elementary, dear to my heart. That's where I'm at, and we are all in on making a difference for kids.
There are our demonstration sites, so if anybody ever wanted to go and see it.
We teach reading every day. That's the joke. What day do you want to come? So.
I just put this here as a quick glance. This represents a school district that had 10 schools participating in Bridge to Read, and this was at the end of their 3rd year of implementation. And so we provide the materials and we provide weekly coaching. I want to repeat that. The weekly coaching is essential to getting strong implementation. And you can just see here, this is kindergarten through 3rd grade, all students summarized here. And so they use the state measures. This district uses Dibbles or FastBridge. And then you can see in the fall, 54% of them were at benchmark. Spring, same measure, 74%. So we saw a large increase.
Tier 1 and Tier 2?
It's designed as a Tier 1 instruction. The coaching we provide are to coaches like Lisa, who then coach teachers. Mm-hmm. It gets used, like Osseo is using it as a Tier 2. So that's an option that teachers can choose, but it's really structured as Tier 1. Yes. So that was, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I really wanted to show, because my roots in literacy came from 2 children that struggled mightily to learn how to read. And so I have terrific heart, as all of you do, for kids that are at risk. So here for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, for that same district, in the fall, these by definition, at risk means they did not meet the fall benchmark. And then by the time we got to the spring, 50% of those students had moved into at grade level.
And we know fall benchmark is here, spring benchmark is here. So they didn't meet here. And months later, they actually got to the higher spring benchmark. So that data is ridiculous. And that's why there's so much energy around these materials, because they're really making it accessible for children, but also for teachers. We know teachers are overworked. We know systems don't have the money to pay for curriculum. This solves many problems for school districts, so we get the right things for kids.
So we have partnerships with schools where we provide the materials and we provide the training, and then we provide ongoing weekly coaching at no cost. In addition, I was incredibly eager to help the supply chain. We need teacher candidates coming up from their training and being prepared to teach reading. And so we've put a lot of energy into partnerships with MACD and made the materials available. And all of these institutions, they took the initiative and decided that they wanted to sign user agreements and use the materials.
So higher ed gets a bad rap a lot. And I'm not saying that they have arrived or that the problem is solved. But I am saying that we're seeing progress in the right direction. Okay?
So I work for Serve Minnesota. It's our state AmeriCorps service. It's a state service commission. We run all the AmeriCorps programs. We're a nonprofit. I work on the research and development team, exclusively focused on literacy.
Yep.
And in the literacy programming, we have two programs. We have one called Reading Corps that some of you may have heard about. We partner with hundreds of schools in Minnesota, and we've replicated in 12 other states. And it's designed to provide explicit instruction on foundational skills in a tutoring. So we recruit people from the community, become AmeriCorps members, they get paid a stipend, and they work with students who are not at grade level. That's what Reading Corps is. And I worked on a lot of the research for Reading Corps, and based on what I learned from Reading Corps and seeing the opportunity with the READ Act, we designed Bridge to Read. And Bridge to Read really is committed to translating explicit instruction of foundational skills into materials that teachers can use with very little. They get their PD, and I know there's like depth, there's levels of PD, but they get their PD either through letters or OLA or carry-all, and Bridge to Read marries with that PD.
The way we talk about it is Reading Corps had a line out the door of kids who needed intervention, right? And Serve Minnesota said, you know, we got to shorten that line. It's fine. There are kids who are going to need more. Reading Corps is great for the kids who need more. We need to really fix the pipeline. We need to get it so that kids are getting it the right way first, and then those who need extra, they get Reading Corps. So Bridge to Read has really helped with that. So now we're going to dive into what the lessons really look like. We know that's why you're here. So Susan, the two parts?
Yeah, so there's 5 minutes on phonological awareness, and then 25 to 30 minutes on word study.
With morphology showing up mostly in second and third grade.
Yes.
It's not that it's not present in first grade, there's some, but it's really much more of a focus in second and third grade. And maybe fourth and fifth soon enough.
Yes. So with phonemic, with the first 5 minutes, it's just a sound activity where the students are working on 4 skills: blending, segmenting, deleting, and substituting. And we maybe watch a video
let's
so you'll
watch
see
the video. This is, again, a teacher at Monroe Elementary, and we'll just watch a bit of her delivering a 2-phoneme focused phonological awareness lesson.
This is where first grade usually starts. So it's the very beginning of the year.
All right, first graders, today we are going to practice blending sounds and words to help us become better readers and writers. We're going to say 2 sounds. We're going to blend them together to make a word, okay? My turn first. A, may. My turn. E, she. Now your turn. Ready? Say A. Yes, may. E. Yes, she. E. Yes, keep. E. O. Yes, so. Now we're going to say the word and we're going to segment it apart into its different sounds. My turn first. Toe. O. My turn. Pay. A. Now it's your turn. Ready? Say toe. Yes. Say pay. Great. Say ray. Good. Say tea. Great. Say day. Lovely. Now we're going to delete the initial first sound and say what's left. My turn. May. I'm not going to say What's left? A. My turn. She. I'm not going to say sh. What's left? E. Now it's your turn. Are you ready? Get your hands ready. Say may. Don't say What's left? Yes. Say she. Don't say sh. What's left? Yes. Say he. Don't say k. What's left? Good. Say see. Don't say what's left? Great. Say so. Don't say what's left? Nice job. Our last job will be substituting or exchanging that first sound to make a brand new word. My turn. May. Instead of I'll say say. My turn. She. Instead of shh, I'm going to say me. All right, your turn. Are you ready? All right, say may. Instead of say yes, say. Say she. Instead of sh, say yes, me. Say he. Instead of say yes, he. Say so. Instead of say yes, no, nice job.
So that's where they start the year, and then they move through 3 phonemes, and then they work into 4 and more phonemes.
You want us to show another or no?
I think we can keep going. Yeah. So this gives you just a quick glance at the scope and sequence of skills that they work through. Kindergarten starts earlier in the sequence with compound words, but it's a 4 to 5 minute activity that starts the lesson.
Mm-hmm. And many lessons within this. You see it goes to 213 lessons. So this is a K3 or K2 sequence of lessons. Teachers just start where the students are at and keep on moving.
Yeah. And there are a couple printed materials that the schools have to print. So this is a really slim little book. I have one if anybody wants to see it. So that's one of the materials that the schools have to take care of.
Yeah. Can I take this?
Yeah.
So my school district did letters training, and we learned so much from that, and it was fantastic to get that understanding of how language and reading work. But what they taught us was this general phonics lesson plan, which makes perfect sense. We bought into it completely. We knew that was what we needed to do. And the curriculum that we had didn't perform that way. We had to pull it apart and reorganize it and do all of this work that was so laborious. The teachers really couldn't keep up with the pace of that. What Bridge to Read did was build a scaffold for us. They gave us all of the pieces, all of the repetition, all of the stair steps for our students, so we didn't have to build this anymore. We could focus on the needs of students because the materials were there and designed the way they should be to begin with.
Yeah, so when they get done using the little booklet and doing the sound awareness, then the teachers access all the materials electronically. So there's going to be, there are like 40,000 slides, and for each grade level, we have a scope and sequence. This is lesson 1 and how you move through the scope and sequence. Mm-hmm. And the lessons, there are 14 pieces here. This is a list of the lesson components that's in each lesson, the typical lesson. And what I really want to point out is just kind of the logic behind the design in the lesson. So you've had the sound awareness, that's just general sound awareness exercise. They step into the lesson. The first few components are really a warm-up. We're going to work on skills that you have done in prior days. We're building fluency. We're raising up anyone who hasn't gotten those earlier skills. And then we're going to enter the new instruction through phonology. We're going to help you understand how the sound is made in your mouth, what goes on with your tongue, is your voice box on, but it's all phonology. And we're going to take a step from there into, we're going to do a little more practice with phoneme blending with words that are in this lesson. So we're taking the generalized practice and really grounding it within the skill that we're going to teach. And then when we've got the sound work done, then in these middle components, we're going to step into phonics. So it's phonology to phonics, and we have it scaffolded. And we'll go through some of the activities. We have a scaffold activity, then we remove the scaffolding, and then we, in the middle of it, we have, some kind of formative assessment where they're going to spell words with this skill. So teachers can see our kids learning what was intended. And after we get done with the warm-up, the phonology, the phonics, then we're going to work on the transfer of the skill, the application of the skill into controlled sentences. And then work on 2 other skills that relate to then taking the next step of reading decodable text. These are just a few glances at, just to give you a visual that there is a scope and sequence. The lessons are numbered 1 to maybe 165 with some bonus.
181,
Kindergarten.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so you can just see the big topics that are covered. And in first grade, you'll see when you get to first grade, we have a chunk of lessons at the beginning that are review, and we have a process by which we help classroom teachers decide, can we start where we expect to in first grade, or do my kids need some skills they should have gotten in kindergarten, in which case we have to do some review lessons. But then they march through these skills. And then you can see at second grade, there are more review lessons that are optional. And the skills that are worked on. So each grade level has a designated scope and sequence. And in third grade, something that's very exciting this year is we spent time designing, which will be part of the curriculum next year, morphology lessons. So we've been working on them all year and piloting with schools. And it's going to be really exciting to release that with it next year.
We know you can't see the details of these, right? We knew that. We did know that. But we wanted you to see the intention by it, right? The big chunks help you. But there are smaller pieces there that are also very intentional. We can show you that if you wanted. So now we're on to what the slides actually look like. A classroom teacher would access these slides every day. And so they're presented on the board. Usually students are around the carpet, close to the teacher, close to the screen. There's certain parts of the lesson, like dictation, where they might move back to their tables so they can get that handwriting, little stronger body to set up that letter formation better. But
right, and this is how the classroom teachers access it. Anyone can access these materials, and we'll give you that access email at the end.
The setup is that they come in lesson chunks. So a teacher would be able to know I'm on lesson 80 yesterday and now 81 today, and so they can click. When Susan said 40,000 slides, that sounded like hyperbole. It was not. The program itself has probably 40,000 or more slides overall.
Right, and so they're usually chunked by targeted skill.
The beginning of the lesson then is about, what is the objective? And so it's listed for them. Any of the boxes that are in blue are intended to be teacher script and read by the teacher. Most teachers are following that word for word. Eventually, some of that scripting can fall away because the routines are set. The children don't need all of that detail anymore. They know what we do on certain slides, so some of that can fall away.
Right, and in designing it, one belief that I brought to the work is that teachers are asked to do too much. They don't have time to prepare for the lessons. So if I could just generously offer what is the most efficient language that you could use for the intended outcome of this lesson component, I'm going to offer it on the slide with a blue box.
A lot of our teachers have actually been surprised at how much they over-talked lessons. They didn't realize until they saw a very succinct script that actually was enough. The children didn't need all of that extra teacher talk. The yellow boxes are considered professional development. They're explanations for the teacher. So that material is also built in. When a teacher's like, why are we doing this? There's probably a yellow slide or a yellow box that explains the why behind things.
And when they're teaching a lesson, they just click through the yellow slide.
Right.
But this is just an example. Like if you have a classroom with students with a lot of dialectical differences, this particular, the upper left-hand quadrant, could be helpful for you to consult before doing the lesson.
So a lot of built-in support for the teachers as well. Again, explaining about VAL-R syllables onto letter cards.
And so in addition to the little booklet that they print with the 213 sound awareness lessons, we give them a set of letter cards that they print. And typically teachers will do 8.5 by 11 color one-sided. And for this part of the lesson, the teacher, assuming we're in week 3, students know the procedure that the students are going to say letter name, keyword, letter sound. And so the teacher's job is literally to hold it up.
Yeah, do you want to do it? What would we do? We would do AI train A. So it's the letters, the keyword, and the sound. So let's do it again. Here we go. AI train A. Do you have another card? OW snow O.
And that's about the pace we would go through.
Yeah. IE pie I.
And we do 10 letter cards just as part of a warm-up. These are all skills that have been taught in prior lessons.
Yep. And so teachers are rotating those cards based on the need of the classroom. Some of our students who need extra practice, they have personalized ones. We can print them small. And they have a ring with those that they're working with a paraprofessional or someone to confirm that they're correct, but they're getting extra practice around that. All right. Our thought today is that we're going to give you a sample. We're not going to go through every single detail, so just know that we are going to move more quickly than we would in the classroom, and we're not going to do all of the examples that we would do.
Yeah, and so here, these are decodable sentences from the prior day, and so the teacher would just, the instructions are down here where you can see, and then the students will read it, and they move from chorally reading word by word to reading in phrases.
A significant thing that has helped us is the error correction. Teachers did not know how to correct students before. And so having Bridge to Read explain to us, this is the way that we correct. If we're going along and we get a word incorrect, then the teacher stops us and says, this is the word, and they explain the word, students repeat, and we keep going by rereading the whole sentence.
Right, and you can look at the words. You can see the prior lesson with short vowel exceptions. Mm-hmm. And so now we're done with the warm-up, the few components that are just bringing the kids, refreshing what they know, and we're stepping into the new skill. The new skill here in this lesson is that the letters ER make the sound.
Yep.
And so you can see the way it's set up, there are 3 pieces. There's explicit instruction, there's modeling, and then most importantly, the students practice and the teachers ask very specific questions to ground them kinesthetically in what is happening in my mouth, my tongue, my voice, so they can anchor the phonemic awareness with a multisensory anchor.
When teachers aren't certain that everybody, this is whole group instruction, so when they're not certain that everybody is getting it, we're recommending that they're following up with students or placing them closer to them and paying more attention. You know, there are ways that we are individualizing, but this program is intended to be whole group first.
And so they have the targeted skill that they've learned, and now we're going to take that targeted skill and we're going to practice again phoneme blending. We really put a lot of emphasis on blending and segmenting within the lesson. This is the place where we put the emphasis on blending.
A lot of teachers will actually hide this slide so students wouldn't see it. We'll show it to you, right? It doesn't matter if they see the slide really, but it isn't intended for them. The blue is intended for the teacher to read.
Yeah. So then the teacher models a couple and then the students will practice 4. So the teacher would just say, my turn, v, b. What word?
Verb.
Yes, verb. So now we have some explicit instruction. So we're now done with the phonology section. We're going to step into phonics and we're going to explicitly connect the instruction they've had on the sound with instruction. And the teachers will just explain the letters ER, make the sound. You can read that. Here's some explicit instruction, and then teacher models or my turn, your turn, my turn, hammer, your turn,
hammer.
And it's that concise.
Yep. The teacher's like, wait, that's it? That's all we need? Well, it's followed with all kinds of practice. So yes, that's as much explicit instruction as we need in that moment. We're going to go on to model it. So blending sounds to read words. The teacher would say, when I touch under the letter, you'll say the sound for that letter. Remember that the underlined letters make one sound. When I slide my finger under the whole word, you'll say the word. So here we go.
Her.
Yes, her.
Fern.
Yes, fern.
And when I was designing this, I really thought, okay, give the explicit instruction and then a baby step. We're going to do sound blend. So all along the way, I was thinking about the struggling readers. How do we give them support so they have the courage to engage and practice? And so the scaffold of sound blend is a way to get them started on reading the words. Right. And so we do that for about the 10 words that are targeted. Every lesson has about 10 words that target the skill at this level.
Many examples, right? For teachers to create those many examples, it's impossible day to day. That's why it hasn't happened. When it's there, they're happy to teach it, and students are happy to do the work.
And then you can see on this slide, these are the same words we just read, sound blend. So now we're taking away a level of scaffolding and saying, now you're going to read this list of words. So they're reading the whole words. Teachers add, if you need to say sound blend, that's fine. You can do that in your mind or whisper it and then say the word out loud.
Still very slow pacing. So the teacher would be pointing. Actually, I have my laser printer. We'll do this here. So this word is?
Her.
Yes, her.
Term.
Yes, term. Yes, verb.
Fern.
Yes, fern, and we would keep going. The teacher saying yes and responding again with that word, one, slows the pace, so there's some processing time. It also gives one more interaction with that word, one more time that they're exposed to it.
Yeah, and we have the error correction, so if there is an error, not to worry. We're going to take it down to the scaffolded level. So if the error was on fern, I would just say, my turn. Fern. Your turn.
Fern.
And then I'd go back to what word?
Term.
Yes, term.
Verb.
Yes, verb.
Fern.
Yes, fern, to give them a delayed opportunity to be successful on what they had made a mistake on.
In the classroom, we say, we're going to give you a running start. Let's go back. And they buy that, right? Like, oh, great. Another try.
And then we say, with respect to the words that they've read, we know, we heard a lot about that this morning, if they can associate meaning with the word, it will support them turning that unfamiliar word into a word they can read with automaticity. So
this just gives the teacher a reminder, you've got to stop and ask about meaning. That's important. And so we'll just say, raise your hand if you have a question about any of these words. And sometimes they would like to talk about every word, so we work around that. That's a different issue, right? But mostly, they do really just want to know what these words mean, and they're happy to have a teacher definition, a very student-friendly definition, quickly, and we move right on. And this is my favorite part of the lesson, dictation. For sure. Yeah, I mean, we work to this point, and now, and the students really have to put out a lot of effort during dictation, but we're dictating in this part of first grade, or 5 words, and then as they get a little further along, we dictate phrases and sentences. So a lot of teacher support here. The Bridge to Read overview has a document that suggests words to the teacher. Suggests, these were the ones. Now, most of us can figure out it was just the list we just saw, right? It's pretty obvious. But it's nice to have these supports here. Again, teacher explanation of why we would go through this, what the dictation process is. A reminder before dictation happens of the spelling connection here. When we hear today, class, how are we going to spell that? And so we would read that specifically, exactly, and students would have that quick reminder before we were into it. Most of our classrooms move at this point in the lesson. They move from sitting on the carpet, they go back to their tables where they have whiteboards or paper. Most of us are keeping that data. It's great data day to day. We want to look at it, so having it on paper. We have first graders writing in pen so that they don't eliminate that data. We want to see it, but we use that information.
And this is the five-step dictation procedure that we use for single-syllable words.
Oh, this is multi-syllable.
Actually, this is lesson 78. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is the 5 steps for multi-syllable, and you can see here the teacher says the word, uses it in a sentence, so the student can associate meaning with the word. The students say the word, count the syllables using the chin tap, and then the most scaffolded way we do is to have them tap the sounds in the first syllable, write that, tap the sounds in the second syllable, write that. And we always emphasize when they're writing, say the sounds as you write the word. And then we have a comparison step where the teacher will write the word on the board and say, I'm going to write the first syllable. Say the sounds as I write the letters, and they write the letters, students say the sounds. If you made a mistake, we're all learning, cross it out and rewrite the word.
We have a classroom to show you.
Oh, yeah, this is
right?
even.
Yeah. This is Sydney McLean, second grade teacher at Monroe Elementary.
I think you have to click up. Yeah,
We
there
want
you
the
go.
top one?
Yep.
Volume? No?
Yeah, so we always emphasize to teachers, a lot of the coaching, as I mentioned, we provide the materials, but then I meet weekly with the coaches for the different schools. And what we're emphasizing about dictation is really being sure that the students tap the sounds before they write the word, so that they can really isolate the letter sound correspondence.
I don't know, Susan, we have the volume all the way up.
Okay, can you click on the second
Yes, let's try the second.
link?
Can you show me what you mean by tapping the sound?
Yeah, so the word is bat,
Whoop.
at, just segmenting.
Oh, gosh. How do we get back?
Sorry, that's not, we checked one of the videos beforehand, but maybe this one, you'll get to see maybe the longer words.
Run
then.
through all my links. Where is it?
That's okay. Any questions that people have? If you were interested in seeing the materials, at the end we have a link, it's just a user agreement that everybody signs. I think at this point there are about almost 6,000 educators that have signed the user agreement and have access to it. So we find some classroom teachers just choose that that's what they're going to do. Their school has adopted something, they're using it as a supplemental. What I spend all my time on is in partnership with schools, where the school district has decided this is what they'll use for foundational skills. And so then I meet with the coaches from that district for a half hour every week. And the goal of the coaching really is, what questions are teachers bringing to you that you want help so you can be responsive to them? And then I have a PD topic that I'm focused on. So right now we're just finishing up the year. Well, I know we have May, but we're looking at where are classrooms, because we track where the classrooms are, and how will that help inform next year where the next grade will start.
No
Okay,
sound.
well, we can go forward.
What's wonderful is the resources. If you sign up for them, there is a whole video library of classrooms performing these lessons, so you will be able to see. And truly, the invitation is open. If you're able to come to Monroe Elementary, we'll show you real children, so much even better than the video. So, all right, reading fluency.
Yeah, so just to review, we've gone through the warm-up. We did the phonology, introduction to the new skill through sound. Then we connected that to the phonics. We did dictation so we could see, are the kids learning what we're teaching? Now we're going to step into a word reading fluency. And in this, they do 2 30-second reads. The first 30 seconds, it's a slow pace, and we're working on accuracy. Everybody's participating, making it as accurate as possible. And then the second read, we work on increasing the pace a little bit.
So just a procedural slide again to acknowledge to the children, this is the next process we're going to go through. We talk about, we're going to read accurately, we're going to read as a team, we're going to read for 30 seconds and mark how far we got before we continue. All right.
And so you see, these are the same words that we've been working on throughout the lesson, and the teacher will just say simply, ready, begin, and then set the pace.
Do you want us to do some?
All right.
All right, you ready? All right, here we go, Susan. Her, fern, term, verb, butter, ladder,
letter.
letter, scatter, banner, manner.
And so you'd continue for 30 seconds, and then wherever you end, I'd put a Post-it note, and then I would come back and say, okay, now we're going to work on increasing the pace a little bit because the words are familiar. You've read and reread, and we spelt them, and we'd work on improving the pacing a little bit.
The children love this. You can hear just an eruption of cheering when they pass that Post-it note the second round. They're just really proud. All right. So
Yeah.
we've read words, now we need to read sentences.
Right, so now we're moving from words to sentences. So we've written controlled sentences that are decodable, relevant to the words that are in the lesson. And there are 2 steps in this procedure. The first step is only relevant for setting students up for success in the second step. So the first step, where the students are spending time looking at each sentence, silently read or whisper read. They give a thumbs up, making a picture in their mind of what they're reading, and then we chorally read. So that's just really a warm-up. Maybe we'll see the next.
We love it because sometimes children will giggle at this stage. And it's because they are comprehending, because the sentences might have something silly. And so we know that they're doing the work.
And we wrote the sentences so that they only include words that have skills that they've received instruction, and they only include this irregular words like sight words or heart words that they've been taught.
Like this one certainly gets a chuckle. Oh, what?
It'll come back. So in this first step, there are about 8 sentences, and they just do sentence by sentence. So they silently read or whisper read, give us thumbs up when they've made a picture in their head, and then the class chorally reads it. And they move sentence by sentence. The choral read is attempting to provide a correct modeling of the word in case they misread a word. And then after, should we?
It's
do you want
going.
to- Oh, it is?
But keep
Okay.
talking.
That's okay. So that's step 1. Step 1 is preparing students for step 2. In step 2, the students are partnering. So the teachers prearranged reading partners, and we give them guidance on how to do that. Then they have a sheet that has the sentences written, and they have 2 different roles, reader and coach. And we train the coach in how to make error correction. And so the reader will read the sentences, and the coach will listen and provide error correction if needed, and then they switch roles. So we read the sentences in step 1 together, then they individually read it a second and third time. So that's the transfer of the skill into connected text with controlled sentences. And the procedure that we're used, some people know the PALS program out of Vanderbilt, very heavily researched partner reading procedure, and it's based off of that. So we've made it from the warm-up to we started with phonology into phonics, and then application of the skill into sentences. And Lisa was going to talk about the third sentence.
Maybe. No, it doesn't want to move slides.
Okay. It's bad manners to throw food at lunch. So
Yes.
that's where you could get a
Get a
pickup from
chuckle.
kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for all of you.
Is there anyone I should get, or someone could? Yeah.
Nope.
Technology. Okay, so after sentences, you're towards the end of the lesson, so you got to see most of it, although we did have a couple of videos we wanted to show. But after sentences, what we're going to do is we're going to put focus on 2 other skills. Reading longer words, and so we have 4 longer words in each lesson, and we teach them the syllabication patterns of vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel, divide between the consonants, and vowel, consonant, vowel, whether you divide before the consonant or after. And they see the word, and we say to them, let's be word detectives. Put on your magnifying glasses, see if you can spot a syllabication pattern, and they just see the word. I don't want anybody reading the word. I want to know, can you spot the pattern? Everyone, okay, now that you've spotted the pattern, they give me a thumbs up. Now I want you to think about, where would you divide the word? Someone volunteers and says, I think it's here. And then we click to the next slide, and they can see The word is shown with the division. It displays the syllabication pattern, gives meaning to the word, an explanation of the meaning, and it is at that point that the students then read the first syllable, the second syllable, and then the whole word. So we practice them looking at longer words, and instead of looking away or skipping the word, we like them to feel ingrained. Oh, when I see a long word, I know I have a tool. And after we do the longer words, then the last skill we teach is reading sight words, heart words. And with the heart words, what we've done is we've looked at the Dolch and the Fry list and picked the highest frequency words that have irregular parts, irregular letter sound correspondences, and we've paired them. So every lesson, every 2 or 3 lessons, there's a couple of new heart words. And with the heart words, we really took the approach that one of the big opportunities in the science of reading is emphasizing the phonology. So in the first slide, we say the word. The word is said. How many sounds are in said? Let's tap the sounds in said. S, e, d. How many sounds? 3 sounds, right. So that's the first slide. Then we go to the next slide where the word is displayed, and the letters that have a predictable correspondence, the S and the D in the word said, are in black, and the AI is in red. And so we explain, you, the students, will say the sounds of the letters in black. I'll supply the letters that are irregular, and we go sound by sound. We read the word, and then there's a back and forth to reinforce how to say the word. And so there are 2 new heart words in each lesson, and then there's a activity where they're going to review heart words that they've already been instructed on. And then the lesson after that, then the lesson ends again where the lesson started with the letter cards, but this time around, you're only going to say the sound. And we proceed through, and then we add to it the letter card for the lesson ER. So they would see ER and they'd say ER. So that's kind of a blast through the 14 lesson components. But my heart in making the lessons really committed to trying to be as informed as I could be about the research and as aligned as I could be with the science of implementation, because that's a lot of what we learned in Reading Corps is what really works with students. So we've designed it. The other thing I really had deep heart about was teachers work so hard. How can this be a gift to them where it doesn't involve, it really takes about 3 minutes to prepare for a particular lesson. I mean, the assumption is that they've gone through letters or carry-all, or maybe you'd really be lucky and they'd go through Orton Gillingham, right. And they have some background knowledge so they can appreciate that the design. Oh, you got it to work.
Well,
all right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, please, the technology issues do not make, that has nothing to do with Bridge to Read. Bridge to Read is amazing. So yes. Do you want to reiterate any of this that was discussed?
Well, they might want to watch a video. This is, I think he does a good job here.
Let's see if we can get it.
Yeah, this is after most of the lesson. We're just working on 2 splinter skills. So they look at multi-syllable words and learn how to visually spot where to divide the word.
And our children in 1st grade can absolutely do the syllabication. You know this. You know, when taught, they are absolutely, and they love it. And then they can generalize because they see those patterns wherever they see words. The rabbit, the robot, and the robin. And then there are more robots than robins. And they're word detectives.
So you can see here's the sequence. Why don't you do that, Lisa?
Yep. So give me a thumbs up when you can locate that syllabication pattern. Thank you for not saying the word. That's good. Keep it in your mind. All right, in this longer word, what pattern do you see? Bet, what pattern do you see?
Vowel, consonant, vowel.
Vowel, consonant, vowel. And where are you going to divide this word, Bet?
I would try it after the A.
After the A. What do we think? Sounds good. Let's check Bet's work. Here we go. Let's check. Vowel, consonant, vowel. And you got it right. When the word has 1 consonant standing between 2 vowels, you can split the word into two parts like this. The vowel EA makes that first vowel sound in eager. Right, oh, I just gave it to them.
I know,
Sorry.
that's my fault.
I'm a little frazzled. Sorry. So that pattern you would explain to the students, and then we would read. Let's read the first syllable. What's the first syllable?
Eager.
And the second syllable? And all together?
Eager.
Yes, eager. And then I would explain that eager is wanting something very much, like for your technology to work well. And so we just continue with that same pattern, right? Different vowel consonant patterns, but the same scenario.
Yeah, it might be fun to watch his video on it. If you
Yeah, we'll see if
If it
video
worked
video
well.
might put me over the edge. Do you
Okay,
want to look
maybe-
at heart words before
yeah,
we try?
Let's do that.
We're going to try heart words just so you can see it before I try to go to video, and if the video fails, at least you will have seen heart words. This was a game changer for us because we really didn't know how to do irregular words. And Susan's pattern or script made a significant difference for our teachers and then for our children.
So you can see there's a box down here with information for teachers. And what has been really interesting and helpful for me as I've worked in the partnerships are two things. Teachers work hard, teachers are very generous, and they don't always know what they want to know.
Yes.
And they said to me when I would put a word like sometime as a heart word, they would say, can you please tell us what the sounds are in the word and what the irregular part is? So we kept building a little more information in.
Less of that scaffolding is needed. Just know, but when we started with this, teachers, they didn't know. Now they know. So the word is sometime. What word?
Sometime.
Let's tap the sounds in sometime. And oftentimes with students, I will go through and we'll just touch those boxes. But yes, sometimes has 6 sounds. Okay? Sometime is a heart word. So that one, as you said, leveraging all those steps. Now, the letters in black make the sounds we would expect. The letters in red do not make the sounds we would expect. So we have to remember them by heart. You say the sounds in black as I point, and I'll say the sounds in red. Here we go. S,
T, I.
My turn. Sometime. Your turn.
Sometime.
Yes, sometime. Third time we're going to see this word now. Class, what word?
Sometime.
Sometime. As you teach the words, it's explicit. Those 3 slides are a necessary pattern. But then after that, we go into reviewing. So those irregular words are ones, they're not necessarily permanently irregular, but they get to see those over and over. Mona?
Lisa, do you practice spelling these words then, or is it only spelling when you're doing the dictation in the sentence?
Right. So the question was, do we have spelling as part of the heart words? And that's an additional place where we're teaching. It's not embedded in the actual lesson of Bridge to Read, but certainly teachers are practicing heart word dictation. We can throw those in, or we do it in small group.
Right. And teachers really, they give us a lot of feedback, and their feedback, we try to design the lesson so it all be done in 35 minutes. And I would love to have carved time in for writing heart words and spelling heart words and dictating sentences earlier on, but the time constraint in schools is pretty significant. So teachers will spend time during their writing block working on spelling the heart words. And we have different resources in the small group folder that they use for that.
Question.
Yes, please.
So is this 35-minute part of it, like a 90-minute block? So
Yes.
When the reading is 60 minutes and this is 35, it's not.
Right. Yeah, it's part of their...
Right. This
and
is
you could
not all that we do for structured literacy, right? We have to have read alouds. We have to have other experiences. We have to have, knowledge experiences. So this is a very specific part of our block, but it is not all that we do for reading. Right.
And I think the last slide might have contact information.
Yes. So again, this comes at 0 cost, which is just amazing. It also comes with a partnership in most cases with Serve Minnesota. The ways that you as individuals would access that is through some Wednesday night 4 p.m. Zoom link to coaching. So that's a free free resource, but it has all of the components of these lessons. And then how to access Bridge to Read materials, and then how to contact me. That's my Anoka Hennepin number, so that if you wanted to come and visit Monroe Elementary, I'd love to have you come out, bring friends. Our classrooms are used to having visitors, so we'd love to show you.
You know, in addition to all the slides for the lessons, there are folders for specific topics. And a lot of the resources in those folders that we created to support teachers, some of it I created, but a lot of it have been gifts from teachers using Bridge to Read. So we have a kindergarten teacher at Monroe who taught 17 years, and he did Bridge to Read for a few years, and then he created a lot of small group practice materials for kindergarten. And he was doing a training with me, and some teachers said, well, is there any way you could maybe loan me that tool? He said, no, I'm just going to put it all in the shared folder. So there's been a tremendous amount of generosity from teachers using it, which is
All right.
fun.
No.
Go on.
We do have sound. Do you want to watch a heart word quick?
Sure.
Just so you can see.
On to our heart words. These are words we need to know by. Awesome. The word is sometime. What's the word? Let's sap it out. Good. How many sounds are in sometime? Jordan. Yes. Sometime is a heart word. The letters in black make the sounds we would expect. The letters in red, they do not make the sounds we would expect. Okay, so we have to remember them by heart. You say the sounds in black. I'll say, at that point, I will say the sounds in red. Let's go ahead and begin. 3, 2, 1. The word is sometime. What's the word? Second graders, this word is? The word is
You get the
something.
idea.
What's the word? Tap it out.
So it gives you a flavor.
Yep. We have made it to the end of our time. It's break time for another 15 minutes. If you'd like to talk with us, please feel free. But also, the bookmark is there for you. It has the website information so that you can access that. Share this widely. When people are struggling and they don't know what to do, teachers who are exhausted and overwhelmed and don't know how to manage what's been asked of them, this is a really great entry point, and I think it will sustain them, make a difference for their kids. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.